Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Great to be a part of the Why Texas Summit. My name is Carlton Schwab, President and CEO of the Texas Economic Development Council. One of the things that has been long publicized, been written about and talked about for years is the growth within the Texas Triangle. Think of the greater Dallas metropolitan metroplex area, Fort Worth and Dallas, extending on a line down through Waco, Austin to San Antonio, then east to Houston and the Houston-Galveston region all the way out to the Golden Triangle. That area is, obviously one of the most dynamic growth areas in the country, if not the world. What is not as well known is what we want to talk about today in this segment of the Why Texas Summit, and that is rural Texas, for one, and the smaller market Texas cities, the Abilenes, the Tylers, the Wichita Falls, the San Angelos. Those kinds of cities are doing quite well as well, but perhaps not as publicized. So today we want to start by talking about rural Texas, and with us, one of the longest termed members of the Texas Economic Development Council, Nancy Wyndham. Nancy is the president and CEO of the Texas Forest Country Partnership. And then we're going to hear from Misty Mayo, the president and CEO of the Development Corporation of Abilene. So the way I'd like to start is, Nancy, I want you to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Forest Country Partnership region, 12 counties in deep East Texas, and then about a project that you all are working on that will really, really make a difference for that part of rural East Texas. So, Nancy.
Perfect. Thank you, Carlton. I appreciate that, and I appreciate Why Texas for having us here and an opportunity to share rural Texas, and most especially from my place, the Deep East Texas area. A little bit about the Texas Forest Country Partnership. We're 61 years old, and it's a group of dynamic people that we are coming together. Our office supports economic development efforts in that region, and our job is just to enhance the economy and support our 12 counties and the efforts. And it's a joy to work with some of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life. I've got some notes because I visited with Ray Perryman last night, actually, and hot off the press, I want to share with you a few points. The Deep East Texas area is 1.3% of the state's population, and it's 0.9% of the employment. However, the forest industry provides 56.8% of the state's timber-related jobs and 13.1% of the wood products manufacturing industry. So what we're seeing right now, and I know we've all been through the pandemic and we've talked about COVID, but I think really that made a lot of people realize where they wanted to live. We have seen a very big increase in the interest of people coming to Deep East Texas. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of innovative people that are looking to start businesses, and as you know, small businesses are our lifeblood. The alliances that we form, we have Stephen F. Austin State University, Angelina College, not to mention many, many more, but we've got the Deep East Texas Workforce Solutions Office, our Small Business Development Center. We work closely with the Texas Workforce Commission and the Ag Department. Coming all together, I guess the importance of those in our school districts coming all together to welcome the new interest into our area, and also to support the existing industries that we have. Right before the pandemic, we had many of our companies were expanding. They still continue to expand. I know you don't hear a lot of those in the news. Maybe we're too busy working to take time to really shout out what we do, but Lockheed Martin has expanded. We have multiple different industries, but one in particular I'd like to share with you today is that in Newton County we have a biofuel company that just this week applied for Chapter 313, and then we are waiting to hear, and we'll anxiously wait to hear on how the outcome is that, so they can make a final decision whether it is Texas or another state. But without that support of Chapter 313 or Chapter 312 in that county, that project would not be there. And we're very thankful and grateful for the opportunities to provide those and to work with that company. All of the different entities have come together to support this project. So we're really looking forward. Maybe the next time we'll be meeting, we'll be making that official announcement for that one. So we've had other companies to come in the areas, but broadband is a challenge, as you've heard on other places. We have broadband program in place, which we're very thankful for, but it's the funding. And we have lots of trees, and so we have a big challenge in Deep East Texas, and we're working very hard to all come together to find out ways that we can provide that connectivity. I know Ray Perriman said the other day, everyone's seeing, okay, so where do I want to move my family? Do we want to go to a rural place? And do we want to have a different quality of life than we've had before? So we want to be able to answer those. I know all the ones that I've listed, and I've probably left out a lot, that have come together to provide the workforce and to train the workforce and concentrate on listening to our local industries and making that connection so we can be ready for that. So I know the timber industry is up. Actually, it is up 18.1% in Texas, and I guess as a good segue, we're going to talk about a food processing project that's food processing is up 12.4% in the state. So thank you and appreciate it.
Nancy, thank you for what you do. Thank you for re-energizing the Texas Forest Country Partnership, and appreciate you being a long-time contributor and member of our organization, as well as your passion for economic development in our state.
Thank you.
Misty Mayo's here. Misty is a longtime economic developer. She took the job running the Development Corporation of Abilene a couple of years ago, doing a fabulous job, has built a great new team there, and Misty just landed, and her team just landed, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, project ever in Abilene. And Misty, tell the folks gathered today about that project and about the many other things you're doing in Abilene, Texas.
Well, in Carlton and White, Texas, thanks for the opportunity to talk about Abilene. It is a mid-sized, just absolutely mighty market. It's 2.5 hours west of the DFW market, so logistically it's primed for the type of projects like Carlton's mentioning. We've just landed Great Lakes Cheese Company. They'll build a 280,000 square foot building with a $184 million capital investment back into Abilene. It's exciting for 400 to 500 people in Abilene are going to be able to work for Great Lakes Cheese. And for a community like Abilene, it's transformational. So there are so many things happening in Abilene, not only Dyess Air Force Base, 3 universities with Abilene Christian University, McMurray, and Hardin-Simmons. We have Texas State Technical College. We have a community college. We have Texas Tech Health Science Center. So we are training up the workforce of the future, and that's another reason why we're able to attract this food manufacturer. It's a cheese packaging operation. Great Lakes Cheese will begin operations as soon as October of next year. And that's created a tremendous amount of synergy for Abilene already. We've seen Primal Pet Food Group. It's a pet manufacturing operation. They have now made an additional expansion commitment into Abilene. In addition to Pactiv, that is a supplier to the food manufacturing pardon me, industry. I just get so choked up talking about all the things happening in Abilene. So Pactiv, we have Abimar Foods, which is part of Grupo Nutresa. We're building a tremendous amount of momentum around not only food manufacturing, but many manufacturing opportunities in the community. Now, of course, that workforce contributes to it. Our regional airport, the fact that Abilene is a regional hub is a tremendous asset for us as well. The city of Abilene has been just exceptionally committed to being aggressive about recruiting these companies. The incentive package for GLC, as well as the most recent project, Primal Pet Group, those incentive packages have been exceptional for a community our size, and state participation in the Texas Enterprise Grant Fund with Great Lakes Cheese was critical for Texas's ability, not just Abilene, but the state of Texas, our ability to compete for projects against other states and ensure that we can commit that type of growth to our great state.
Well said, Misty. One of the things I'd like to emphasize to the viewers today is that in our state, it's really a bottoms-up kind of approach to economic development. And it's really working well these days because our state-level economic development organization, the Office of Economic Development and Tourism, is much more in tune with the professionals doing what they do at the local level. We have 725 local economic development corporations in the state that bring more than $1 billion a year to bear at the local level. We have great regional organizations like the one Nancy represents. We also have incredibly successful regional chambers of commerce in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and those types of big cities. So economic development, I like to say, is a decidedly local endeavor in our state. It's up to the locals to determine the futures of their communities. Then the state comes in, and like it did in Abilene with the Enterprise Fund grant, or in terms of Nancy's project, comes in, supports, really help closes the deal for those economic development projects that are so impactful in our state. Coming up next, short interview with two friends of Why Texas. We have Danny Martin and Jeff Crilly, followed by a panel of on going public in Texas featuring NASDAQ. Thanks, everyone.